You know what's weird? I was trying to explain to someone the other day the concept of a true romance versus a rom-com, and I realized there aren't a lot of true romances in the TV world, with the exception of Hallmark movies. Sure, there are romantic subplots and even rom-coms, which are not the same thing as actual romance books, though people think they are. This distinction is important when you're writing a romance because what works in a romantic comedy movie does not work at all in a humor-based romance book. Why the heck not? That answer is what we'll be covering today. Hi, novelteers. I'm Devlin Blake, novel writing and self-publishing expert, coach, published author, and former ghostwriter of 200 books. If you're writing a book, be sure to check out my Novel Writers Club featuring self-directed courses, weekly crits, Ask Me Anything group coaching, and more. You can find out more about it at the link below. So, if a rom-com was a book, it would not be considered a romance category. Why is that? Well, for starters, the question is wrong. A movie rom-com is based on the will they or won't they scenario. And sometimes in a movie rom-com, they won't. This is unacceptable in a romance genre because that is not the question. In a romance, they always will. The difference is subtle but significant, and it matters if you plan to write romance, because after all, romance books make up 1/3 of the fiction book industry market, totaling over $1 billion yearly. None of the other genres even come close to that, even when you combine them. So getting it right matters. There's lots of competition in romances. So now let's look at a true romance. As I mentioned, the question is different because they're always going to get together. So that's not the question. The question is, how will they overcome the obstacles to do it? The obstacles in true romances exist for the couple to learn to become a team and work together to realize how much they mean to each other. That's why people buy the ticket, as they say. Good movies examples of this include Lost City or Pretty Woman. I would give you more examples, but the truth is there are not a lot of examples of this in movies that aren't Hallmark. A Christmas Prince is a good example, but again, Hallmark, or Netflix, or whoever made that, but it feels like Hallmark. In a movie rom-com, the obstacles exist so that the couple can figure out exactly what they mean to each other, which is sometimes just good friends and not a romantic couple. A good example of this is My Best Friend's Wedding or Pretty in Pink. But you'll notice those characters don't end up together. That type of ending absolutely will not work in a true romance genre. So why do true romances make up less than 10% of the movies while making up over 1/3 of the fiction books sold? I have no idea. I could give you theories about how romance novels are written for women and focus a lot on treating women with respect and consent, which is something a lot of rom-coms don't do, but I'm not going to get into that. This is not a political channel. What I am going to get into is saying that if you want to write a true romance and take advantage of the fact that the genre makes up 1/3 of the fiction book market, then you need to stop looking at rom-coms for inspiration and start looking at some true romances. Get to know their tropes, their expectations, what the readers go nuts for. And it can be funny too, but it doesn't have to be. And if you're having trouble figuring out all the tropes or even knowing if your story is a true romance, you're in luck. I go into genres, all of them, a lot deeper in my membership site, the Novel Writers Club. You can find out more about it at the link below. Until next time, this is Devlin Blake saying, right on.